Hey guys, welcome to Fearless Cooking. So today I'm going to record today's episode because it's due to my anniversary, or it's our anniversary weekend this weekend. So I'm not going to be doing the show live, but I couldn't miss the opportunity. It's like here it is. It's the middle of April, and it's been like kind of the way it normally is in Austin, where it's warm a lot of the time, and all of a sudden now we've got this cold snap. So I'm like, all right, perfect. Time for something that's like basically some kind of a stew. And I had some chicken thighs that I was like, all right, I'll do something with those. So we're going to do sort of a kind of North African riff. You know, it. What we're going to do is we're going to use chicken and yeah, this doesn't look all that great because it's been defrosting, but it's still frozen. So I'm just going to cut this thing into chunks and throw it into the Instapot. We've got some carrots here. I've already peeled them, and there's, I would say probably use like 2 carrots because this is like one sort of normal size and some runts. We'll use most of this onion. I've got a can of tomato paste. We're going to use a jalapeno, some ginger, some garlic. I got like 3 cloves here. And then I just kind of went with an assortment of spices. I've got some smoked paprika. That's like a couple of teaspoons. This is cumin. This is coriander. Both of those are like a teaspoon. And this is like a kind of, it's like not a full teaspoon of cinnamon. And then we're going to use sweet potatoes. I'm going to throw, whoops, almost lost it. I'm going to throw some almond butter in, as well as some chicken stock. And then I've got some collards over here that I've taken the stems out. And I'll chop those up and put them in at the last minute. And then we've also got some coconut milk. So with the chicken stock, I'm just going to use it to kind of get it to the fill point that I want. And then once it's kind of gone through its cycle and it's cooked, then we'll dress it with some lime, and I'll have some cilantro down. So what I'm going to do is kind of keep you guys with me while I'm doing this stuff, get it in the Instapot, then I'll pause it, and we'll rejoin at the unveiling of our stew. So I'm gonna wait on cutting the chicken until after I've cut everything else on the cutting board. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I think we'll start. And on this one, I'm not going to brown the chicken or anything because there's going to be so much flavor in it there anyway. Yes, it might like develop a little bit more flavor, but there's also kind of a time component. It's like, how can people like fix a quick meal for themselves without kind of like, let's collapse some of the extra steps is basically where I'm going for with this. So I'm going to move the lime out of the way. Let's just set it over here. And then let's tell you what, we'll just get started with the garlic because that's the closest thing. So I've got skin still on this, so I'm just going to smash it with the knife. That's just it. I found that kind of the easiest way to get the skin off of it. And we're just going to kind of rough chop this. Go ahead and get all of it like that. All right. And this one's already peeled. So get this one. And, it kind of depends on your garlic affinity. If you are somebody that's like, oh man, I don't really love garlic, then don't add as much. If you're like, man, no dish can have too much garlic, throw an extra clove in. I think 3 will give us kind of what we're looking for. Like I said, there's always allowances for personal preference. All right. And I kind of found that's the way that I am with cooking, period, right? Because like I was just looking around. What I will do a lot of times if I've got ingredients going, okay, what would be good with this? I'll just do a search on Google. Here's what my items are. What do I see? Invariably, a lot of them will come up with, hey, use peanut. Well, I pretty much stay away from peanuts. I use almonds. And then, a lot of them will be like vegetable oil. Never use vegetable oil. And then I may look at 2 or 3 different recipes and kind of triangulate them going, okay, I like this, I don't like that, and then, I'll just, there'll be like a recollection of, wait a minute, I remember enjoyed putting this in before, so that's kind of the way that my recipes evolve. And as far as like timing on this, we're going to go for like 15 minutes, which will be probably about 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes of cooking time. All right, so we've got the garlic. We'll just go ahead and toss that in there. Actually, I want a little bit so it's just not right on the bottom. I always have got this like desire to not burn the garlic, because that's that's a quick way to get like bitterness added to a dish. And since the pieces are always pretty small, you kind of have to guard against that. All right, we're going to do a half an onion and see kind of what that looks like. So not, let's see how quick these peel. Yeah, it's like that. You can do I could do this ahead of time, but it's like, hey, if you're cooking along with me, you're having to do it too. So, all right. I just heard my phone beep, so let me turn this thing down to stun. There we go. I just always cut that little piece off on the end there. Only time I don't bother peeling onions is if I'm making a broth that I'm going to filter anyway, or strain, and then I'll just leave the skins on the onions because it like adds some onion flavor. But any other time, I'm gonna obviously peel them. All right. Yeah, I think this one can stand the whole onion, so we'll put all that in there. A lot of times when I'm doing ingredients, I just kind of look at it and go, all right, does that look like that's going to overpower the dish? And, onion that's going to have a chance to cook down. And also, I'm not too worried about, is everything the exact same size? If I was going to saute it, I'd be more concerned about that, making sure I did that. And it's not like, I don't want like great big pieces in there, but I'm not as worried about, okay, here's some that are not exactly the same size. All right. Grab this end off here. Got some skin that was determined to hang on. All right, here we go. Main thing I try to do is just cut it down. And then once it gets to where it's kind of not stable, then turn it over on its side. Alright, toss the core. Yeah, this is like kind of the definition of rough chop. Went ahead and knocked out those great big pieces. All right, so that's got all that. Just like there's a little piece of skin there. We'll get rid of that. Okay, now then, we'll toss these on the bottom. Okay. Now that I've got something on the bottom, I'll toss the garlic in. The thing I like about the Instant Pot is that once you've kind of gotten it set, then you can go on and do whatever it is that you're, doing. You don't have to babysit it. It's not like something that you're sauteing that you're having to worry about burning it. All right, so I'll tell you what, we'll do the sweet potatoes next. And with the sweet potatoes, I don't ever peel them. If they have any like super nasty spots, I might knock that off. and I a lot of times just get rid of the very end. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to cut it kind of in half here, and then I'm going to just make what would be like kind of French, like steak fry kind of size, and then we'll go ahead and cut that down. All right, so then I'm just going to cut it into chunks. Not great big ones, not coins, and it's not like a super fine dice. It's kind of a large dice, I guess. When we do a lot of sweet potatoes, you know, it's not that I won't eat regular potatoes. It's just, you know, I've gotten to where I like I think that sweet potatoes kind of add more to it. And I think, you know, I do think that there's like, you know, they've got a little better glycemic index, so you're not like, you know, bouncing blood sugar right out of the park when you eat them. But, you know, one of the things I think it's different people are going to have, you know, different blood sugar reactions to different foods. That's one of the things that Wolf talks about in his Wired to Eat, is like, you know, that 100 grams of carbs, you know, coming from different things are going to have different effects on different folks. Some people, you know, they have a bowl of rice, their blood sugar is going to go through the roof. Other folks, it doesn't affect that much at all. So, you know, and I think the significance of that is, you know, anytime your blood sugar's bouncing around, all of a sudden you find yourself getting, you know, like all of a sudden you're just ravenously hungry because your blood sugar's dropped. So, you know, kind of the more constant you keep it, then you don't go through those crazy hunger swings. So like with this, you know, this is going to be, the 2 potatoes is going to be spread out over a whole bunch of servings. So, you know, it's like it acts more like just kind of a you know, a condiment than a main ingredient. All right, here we go. These in. And next we'll do the carrots. The stem ends off, and then with these, I'm just going to slice them into coins. These other 2. Yeah, and you know, to me, carrots kind of have, like, they work well with all this stuff as well as the sweet potato. You know, collards to me kind of go with anything. And the thing I like about them is that they're hardy enough that they're not just going to completely disintegrate in the Instapot, but I mean, they will certainly be soft. But you know, you could do this with spinach or kale. Either one of those would work with it. What I like too is I like it for that, you know, I've got something green that's in there. All right, so, and then here's something that's green. So, cut the jalapeno in half and take the seeds out. And I'm also going to use that spoon to peel the ginger. So I just use the end of the spoon and just peel the seeds out. Okay. I'm not going to dice these, I'm just going to slice them kind of into slivers. Until this nice knife needs a little hone. Let's see. Alright, let's do that real quick. Ginger, and then, like I said, with this, I just use the end of the spoon and just use it to scrape the skin off the ginger, and then we'll slice this thing up real fine. Yeah, I've noticed that if I let it, because I used to keep ginger in the fridge and it never lasted, so I just keep it in a paper, actually I don't even put it in a paper sack anymore, I just have it out in the pantry, kind of in a wire basket. But, you know, after a while it gets leathery, and then, you know, you probably still do something with it. Usually that's when, you know, it hits the trash can. So it's like, I always hate throwing any kind of food away, but it's like, all right, you know, ginger is one of those things that I try to make a point of making sure that I have it on hand. And I'm, you know, like everybody else, trying to be a little bit more conscious of, you know, trips to the grocery store and, you know, kind of keep them limited. All right. I haven't tried to do any of the delivery stuff. You know, I know that what it looks like is that there's, you know, kind of windows of, you know, when the deliveries are going to happen. All right, so I'm going to just use a knife to get this out of here. So this is just organic tomato paste. You know, one of the things I've noticed is that the grocery stores all seem to be fairly conscious of, you know, trying to keep everybody, you know, kind of spaced out inside the stores. And, you know, I think they've done a fairly good job. So far, the one that I've been kind of most impressed with is Costco, just because of their, you know, they always seem so organized. But probably the biggest turnaround that I saw was at Whole Foods, because the first time I went in there, they didn't have anything on the shelf, and they just seemed like in kind of this state of chaos. And the next time I was in, you know, they were doing a lot better job of kind of keeping people, you know, spread apart, and you know, like they were wiping down the conveyor between each patron. So, you know, I don't know. I like the fact that they seem like they kind of stepped it up a little bit. All right, we'll hit the collards real quick. And these aren't like picture perfect. I mean, you know, they probably would have been better a couple of days ago, but they're still good. And, you know, that's one of the things that I've tried to do, you know, kind of during this period, is it's like, hey, I'm not going to let, you know, perfect get in the way of good. And it's like, you know, when I stem collards, you know, I don't worry about the little stems here, but I'll take them and just kind of like peel it along that stem, just with my fingers. And then, yeah, so that's like a little bigger than what I normally have in there. And then I'm just going to rough chop these, you know, keeping my fingers out of the way. This is also not a time that I really want to be out hanging out in a emergency room. So, like I said, this kind of a quick rough chop. All right, we'll put this in there. All right, good. We're going to have a very full Instapot. Okay, so there's the paprika. I'm putting that in. Which one is this? That's the cumin. What's this one? This is Oh, the coriander. And then this one's the cinnamon. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And I almost forgot my ingredient that I always have to have a little of in there, which is fish sauce, because it just makes everything better. So let's just do about 10 cranks. 11. Okay. And then I've got some, let's see what, I've got some smoked, what's that? And that's lamb seasoning. Let's use crack. Yeah. I've got some smoked black pepper, but I've already got the smoked paprika in there. So I'm just going to put a couple of pretty fat pinches in. Okay. I'm going to grab a little fish sauce. We'll just go with about 1, 2, 3 squirts. And here's our coconut milk. That's a cup of full-fat coconut milk. I'll do probably about 2 kind of gigantic heaping tablespoons of almond butter. So we'll call that 1. Oh, nice. And then since I know that it's gonna, like some of it's kind of sticking to the spoon, we'll make it 3 of those, because I want to make sure that we get some of that kind of almond butter flavor in there. There we go. So that's probably 1/4 of a cup. And so if I do, I'm going to smear this all over. Not that much. All right, get this out of the way. And now it's time, I think, if I got ever, yeah, I'll put the chicken stock in at the last ingredient. So let me get the chicken breasts, or the chicken thighs here. And I'll scrub my cutting board. I was talking to a friend the other day, he's like, yeah, I would never put raw meat on a wooden cutting board. And so when I bought this, one of the things that I liked was that Cooks Illustrated had done some studies where they had taken plastic cutting boards and then compared it to the teak one, and they had actually cultured it for salmonella, and they saw that the teak actually did a better job of eliminating the salmonella, you know, if you were using soap and water to clean it, than the cutting board. And you know, the problem with the plastic ones is that they get grooves in them from the knife, and then the bacteria gets in that. So, you know, I would never, like, you know, I'm going to just hit this with the hottest water that I can get, and then, you know, soap before I put anything else on it. Get all of that in there. Yeah, I'm not going to, yeah, there we go. This knife's going to have to, and then, you know, obviously in a deal like this, I'm going to make sure that I really clean the handle of the knife and the blade. Okay. The advantage, I think, of using thighs in this is I don't have to be quite as worried about overcooking them like I would if it was breast. Just because they've got more fat, so they're going to be a little bit more, they're going to give me a little more leeway. All right, so that's in there. Now I'm going to wash my hands real good. how much chicken stock I'm going to put in. What I want to do with it is just make sure that I've got enough that it's going to kind of give me a good base. And probably going to put most of this. So I had used a little bit of this, and one of the things that I do, especially with something like chicken stock, is that, and I started doing this now, like when I'm cooking and I put, leftovers in, is I do not put a piece of painter's tape on there and then put the date on it. So yeah, like I use this, open it on 4/8. I'd probably use this up until like tomorrow. About a week is about as long as I want to keep an open container of stock in. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I will seal this thing up. And I'm going to put it, we'll do pressure cook. And that was something I had done that was 15 minutes. We're going to knock it down to 15. And let's do 18. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right, so and I got to make sure that my vent is closed. And then I will bring you guys back in when this thing is venting. And we'll have a bowl of it and see what it looks like. Thanks a lot. See you in a few minutes. Okay, guys, welcome back. Well, so the thing finished up, and let's see what we got here. So what I'm going to do, this thing's still pressurized, so I'm going to vent it, but I always use like a kitchen towel so that I don't get steam or like juice splattering all over the cabinet. So, well, it smells good. Hope it. I'm sure it's going to taste good, because that combination of flavors would be kind of hard pressed not to. But we'll check it out and kind of see where we are with it. Yeah, because the guess on the 18 minutes, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be good there. And the thing that I would suggest with seasonings on these things is just play with it and see what like herb combinations, what spice combinations you like together. I could have added like lemongrass to this. That would have probably, been an interesting piece. I at first thought about just using just like some kind of a general curry. What's interesting is we have spice blends here that we call curry. And, I always just thought, well, that's what people in India cook with. Well, it turns out, no, there's no such thing over there as just curry. It's like almost every region and every family has their kind of combination that they use. And then different parts of the world have dishes that we would identify as curry that use different spices. So my suggestion is buy some spice blends. I haven't checked to see yet if Penzeys is still. For a while, I know they were kind of suspending operation. I don't know if they're back shipping or not. But they do a good job of combining a bunch of different spices that I wouldn't normally associate going together. And then there is a book. Hang on, let me grab it because I was just looking at it. It's called Culinary Artistry. I bought it used. Tim Ferriss had talked about the author. It's Andrew Dornenberg and Karen Page, and they were the ones that did the Flavor Bible. But like they have all these different recipes, and then they have these different like spice combinations. What they describe them as like pairings, kind of made in heaven. Where is this? I was looking at it earlier, because I was looking up like oregano, because I got in the CSA basket, I got oregano. Oh, so here's one of the things they've got. So like, all right, they're saying Swedish, right, is dill, gravlax, juniper berries, and reindeer. I'm fresh out of reindeer. Let's see, southwestern United States. Chilies, anise, cojeta, which is a type of cheese, cinnamon, clove, cumin, fruits, especially tropical, juniper berries, nuts, rice, sage, So I think what they're saying is these are things that will go well together. Um, like here's one: celery seeds, eggplant, eggs, fish, peas, potatoes, stuffings, and tomatoes. They just kind of give you some ideas of combinations that work. And you know what my recommendation is play with that and start finding different things that you can like kind of become your like part of your arsenal, right? Just things that hey, I've done that before. I know that'll work this time. So that way you're not, wedded to having to follow a recipe item by item. It's a great way to get a start to figure out, okay, do you like these combinations together? But then you can kind of do your own riffs. All right, here we go. Stir this up, and it looks great. Oh yeah. Yeah, that looks delightful. And this is some cilantro that a neighbor up the street had given us. And it looks almost like dill, but it's not. And it's I've had some of it already. I put it on some eggs yesterday, and it was great. All right, and then let's hit it with some lime. Now, I have a feeling this is going to be like incredibly hot. So I'm going to let this cool just a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to exactly melt my mouth. That's good. Yeah, I think you'll like all those flavors together. So, hey guys, I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to cooking with you guys soon. I'll let you know since I'm not telling you what we're cooking next time, we'll figure it out, and I'll get it posted out to everybody. So, anyway, have a great rest of your week. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.